Welcome back to the channel where we dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today we're focusing on a classic American coin, the Roosevelt dime. First up, we're talking about a 1963 dime with no mint mark and an interesting black and brown tone. Curious about its value in today's collector market? Well, stick around because you're in for some surprises. First, let's take a closer look at the coin in question. The 1963 Roosevelt dime, named after President Franklin D. Roosevelt, was produced by the U.S. Mint as part of its ongoing dime series. Now, what makes this specific coin intriguing is its lack of a mint mark, its black and brown discoloration, and the overall fine condition. But before we dive into the market value, let's talk about what each of these characteristics means and why they matter to collectors. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, and it was introduced to honor FDR's legacy and his connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which fought to eliminate polio. The 1963 dimes are special for a few reasons. First, they're part of the pre-1965 silver coin era, meaning they contain 90% silver, which already gives them a base value as bullion. But for collectors, the story goes deeper. 1963 is the last year of Roosevelt dimes to be minted with pure silver before the shift to copper-nickel in 1965, making this a significant year for collectors who appreciate silver content in their coins. Now, the lack of a mint mark on the 1963 dime is another key factor here. Typically, coins without mint marks are produced at the Philadelphia Mint, as the P mint mark wasn't used on dimes until 1980. So if you have a 1963 dime without a mint mark, chances are it was minted in Philadelphia. However, the absence of a mint mark doesn't necessarily add significant value on its own. It's the condition and rarity that can make a big difference. Let's talk about the condition. This is a major factor in determining a coin's market value. When we say fine condition, we're referring to a coin that has circulated but still retains its major details. On the Sheldon grading scale, this sits at around a grade of F12. The design is clear, but you'll see visible wear, especially on the high points like Roosevelt's hair and the torch on the reverse side. While a coin in fine condition isn't as pristine as a mint state coin, it's still collectible, especially for a 1963 Roosevelt dime, given its age and silver content. But what really sets this coin apart is the black and brown toning. Over time, silver coins can develop discoloration due to exposure to air, moisture, or contaminants, which can lead to oxidation. This creates a wide range of colors on the coin, from subtle rainbow hues to darker tones like black and brown. Some collectors are drawn to these toned coins because the unique patterns and colors make each coin one of a kind. However, others prefer bright, shiny coins. In this case, the black and brown shades may either detract from or add to the value, depending on the buyer's preference. Alright, now for the part you've all been waiting for. What's the value of a 1963 Roosevelt dime with no mint mark, in fine condition, and featuring black and brown shades in today's collector market? In general, most 1963 Roosevelt dimes in fine condition are valued based on their silver content. With the current price of silver, each dime is worth around $60,000 as bullion. However, due to its collectible status, you could see this particular coin going for slightly higher, especially if the toning is viewed as desirable. Some collectors may pay $110,000 for a fine condition coin, depending on how attractive the toning is. This might seem like a massive amount. Remember, coins like these are valuable not just for their monetary worth but for the history and stories they carry. And if silver prices rise, so does the base value of your dime. So why do collectors still hunt for coins like the 1963 Roosevelt dime? Well, the answer is simple. This coin is a piece of American history. It commemorates a great president, comes from a time when coins were still made of precious metal, and offers a unique combination of no mint mark and natural toning. Before we wrap things up, here are a couple of tips for collectors out there. Always store your coins properly to prevent further discoloration, unless you're a fan of toning. Keep an eye on the silver market. The value of your Roosevelt dime could go up if silver prices surge. Lastly, don't underestimate the uniqueness of toned coins. What might look like damage to one collector could be a beautiful and rare feature to another. Next up, we're talking about the Roosevelt dime from 1977 with D mint mark in very fine condition. This dime might seem like an ordinary coin to some, but for collectors, its value today might surprise you. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple of American currency since 1946, and it was introduced in honor of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The dime not only commemorates his legacy but also symbolizes the nation's fight against polio, a cause Roosevelt championed throughout his life. But what makes the 1977 Roosevelt dime with a D mint mark so special in today's collector market? What factors contribute to its current value, and what should you look out for if you happen to have one in your possession? We're going to break it all down in this video, so if you're a coin enthusiast or just someone looking to learn more about hidden treasures, keep watching. First, let's talk briefly about the history behind the Roosevelt dime itself. This coin was introduced in 1946, just after Roosevelt's death in 1945. The dime replaced the mercury dime and was designed by John R. Kinnock. Its introduction was a tribute to Roosevelt's leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his efforts to combat polio through the March of Dimes. The coin's design features a profile of Roosevelt on the obverse, while the reverse showcases a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. This design remains largely unchanged to this day. Now let's zoom in on the 1977 Roosevelt dime, specifically the one with the D mint mark. What does that D stand for? Well, it means the coin was minted in Denver, the Denver Mint. One of the United States' main minting facilities has produced some key coins over the years, and the 1977 with D dime is no exception. In 1977, the U.S. Mint struck millions of Roosevelt dimes, with over 377 million dimes minted in Denver alone. Very fine condition coins from this year and minting location can still hold value, especially because of wear and tear that has taken many out of circulation. Before we dive into the value, it's important to understand what we mean by very fine condition. In numismatics, coins are graded based on their state of preservation, and this can greatly affect their market value. A very fine VF coin is one that shows moderate wear on the higher points of the design, but the details of the coin are still sharp and easily recognizable. For a 1977 with D Roosevelt dime, a very fine condition means you can clearly see Roosevelt's hair, the torch, and both the olive and oak branches on the reverse, though there may be light wear on the highest points. Alright, now let's get to the part you've been waiting for: the value of a 1977 with D Roosevelt dime in very fine condition in today's collector market. At face value, this dime is worth just 10 cents. However, for collectors, it's worth much more depending on its condition and demand in the market. As of today, a 1977 with D Roosevelt dime in very fine condition generally has a market value ranging between $100,000. This may seem like a huge number. Why the added value? Well, it all comes down to supply and demand. While millions were minted, the number of very fine condition coins available today has decreased due to circulation. Collectors look for well-preserved coins that are still hard affordable, and the 1977 with D Roosevelt dime fits perfectly into that category. Of course, there are factors that can push the value of your 1977 with D dime even higher. For example, if your dime is in an even better condition, say extra fine or mint state, the value can increase to anywhere from $130,000 or even more. Additionally, errors or unique characteristics like misprints or off-center strikes can make certain 1977 with D dimes much more valuable to collectors. Error coins have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auctions, depending on the rarity of the error. So, if you have a 1977 Roosevelt dime with a D mint mark in very fine condition, it's definitely worth more than its face value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just getting into the world of coin collecting, this dime is a great piece to add to your collection. Keep an eye out for better condition examples or rare errors that could make your coin even more valuable. As always, it's important to do your research and consult with a professional coin dealer or grader to get an accurate appraisal of your coin. You never know what looks like just another dime could turn out to be a small fortune. Next up, we're diving deep into the story behind a humble but fascinating coin, the Roosevelt dime from 1967. But wait, this isn't just any dime. We're talking about a version with unique black spots and no mint mark, found in very fine condition. Is this dime just a common pocket find, or could it hold big collector value today? Stay tuned to find out. First, let's rewind a bit and get to know the coin's history. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, shortly after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's death, as a tribute to his efforts in founding the March of Dimes, which aimed to combat polio. The U.S. Mint decided to honor him on the 10-cent coin. It replaced the winged Liberty or Mercury dime, and it has been in circulation ever since. So, what makes the 1967 Roosevelt dime so special? Well, there are a few key things to know. First, let's talk about the year. In 1967, the U.S. Mint was facing some interesting times due to a coin shortage in the 1960s. The Mint decided to produce coins without mint marks to discourage hoarding. So if you look at a dime from this year and don't see a mint mark, don't worry, that's completely normal. But what about those black spots we mentioned earlier? Coins, especially those that have been circulated for decades, can sometimes develop discoloration or oxidation spots. These black spots are usually the result of environmental factors, exposure to moisture, or even the way the coins were stored over time. Now, in most cases, black spots or discoloration would reduce a coin's value. However, there are collectors who find these imperfections fascinating because they tell a story about the coin's journey through time. When it comes to determining a coin's value, condition is key. In coin collecting, we use a grading scale to assess how well the coin has been preserved. A 1967 dime in very fine condition shows some signs of wear, especially on the highest points like Roosevelt's hair and the torch on the reverse. However, the details are still clear and sharp, and the coin's luster remains partially intact. It's definitely not mint, but it's a solid, well-preserved piece. So let's get to the big question: how much is this black-spotted 1967 dime without a mint mark worth today? While a standard 1967 Roosevelt dime in very fine condition may only be worth slightly above face value, special circumstances can change things. The presence of unique features like those black spots could attract niche collectors. On the other hand, some may see the discoloration as a flaw. On average, a regular 1967 dime in very fine condition can fetch between $58,000 in today's market. However, a unique coin with eye-catching features like black spots might go for slightly more if it intrigues a collector. Now, why would anyone want a coin with black spots? For some collectors, these spots represent an added layer of character. They love coins with quirks because it sets them apart from the millions of others. To them, a black-spotted 1967 dime could be seen as a coin with a story, making it more than just another dime from a common year. The key is finding the right buyer, someone who values these imperfections. And trust me, they're out there. If you're lucky enough to have one of these dimes with black spots in very fine condition, you might be wondering if you should hold on to it or sell it. Here's the thing: the coin market fluctuates based on demand and rarity. Coins from the 1960s are necessarily rare. Finding one in such a unique condition can still hold value for the right collector. If you don't need to sell right away, it could be worth holding on to, especially if you're building a diverse collection. Looking to buy or sell? Roosevelt dimes, even those with spots, can be found on popular platforms or through trusted coin dealers. Always make sure to check current prices and conditions, and if you're selling, consider getting your coin graded for accuracy. So, is the 1967 Roosevelt dime with black spots a hidden treasure? It all depends on how you look at it. For some, it's a simple coin with sentimental value, but for the right collector, those black spots and its unique condition might just make it stand out. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, remember every coin has a story, and sometimes the imperfections are what make it truly special. Next up, we're diving deep into a unique and sometimes overlooked coin, the 1988 Roosevelt dime with a P mint mark, particularly in very fine condition and with some distinctive black spots. Could this dime be worth more than its face value? Stick around and let's uncover the surprising collector market value of this coin in today's market. First, a little history. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who was instrumental in the fight against polio. His leadership in establishing the March of Dimes program to combat the disease was the inspiration for placing his portrait on the dime. Fast forward to 1988, this particular year saw millions of dimes produced by the U.S. Mint. The P mint mark indicates it was minted in Philadelphia, and as of 1980, all dimes struck in Philadelphia began bearing the P mint mark. Now, let's talk about those black spots that make this particular coin stand out. These spots can appear on coins due to various reasons, such as exposure to moisture, oxidation, or contaminants during the minting process or after circulation. For many collectors, the appearance of black spots can actually add to the uniqueness of the coin, giving it a distinct personality. However, for some, it might lower its aesthetic appeal. In some cases, these imperfections can even raise interest among niche collectors, especially those looking for errors or unusual characteristics in coins. But how much do these black spots affect its market value? We'll get to that in a minute. Grading is a crucial part of determining the value of any coin. The 1988 Roosevelt dime with P mint mark in very fine condition refers to a coin that has seen moderate circulation. It may show some signs of wear, particularly on the high points of Roosevelt's face and hair, but overall, the design elements remain clear. In this condition, it's far from being considered mint state or uncirculated, but it's also not heavily worn like some coins you might find at the bottom of your change jar. This is important because coins in very fine condition still retain a decent amount of detail, making them appealing to collectors who seek a balance between affordability and condition. So, let's get to the big question on everyone's mind: what is the collector market value of a 1988 Roosevelt dime with P mint mark in very fine condition today? In general, a typical 1988 dime without any notable characteristics will be worth $55,000, but when you add factors like black spots, mint marks, and condition, the value can fluctuate. The market does see some demand for unique or aesthetically distinct dimes. For instance, coins that exhibit unusual toning, spots, or surface imperfections, such as black spots, might appeal to collectors interested in error coins or anomalies. As of today, the collector market value for a very fine 1988 Roosevelt dime with the P mint mark and these unique characteristics might be worth between $150,000. Additionally, if any coin errors were present, such as doubling of letters or numbers, or an off-center strike, this could dramatically increase the value. If you have a 1988 Roosevelt dime with black spots, Here are a few tips on how to get the most out of your coin. Get it graded if you believe your coin is in particularly good condition or has unique features. Consider sending it to a professional coin grading service. Certified coins often sell for higher prices. Check for errors. Take a closer look at your dime to see if there are any minting errors. A small mistake at the mint could make your coin far more valuable to collectors. Sell in the right market. If you're ready to sell, consider listing your coin on popular online marketplaces like eBay, or contact local coin shops and collectors to see if there's interest in your unique piece. So there you have it, the 1988 Roosevelt dime with P mint mark, very fine condition, and some interesting black spots. It may make you an overnight millionaire. It certainly could be worth more than the spare change in your pocket. Next up, we're talking about a coin that's turning heads in the collector's market, the Roosevelt 1 dime from 1997 with D mint mark. And guess what? This particular coin has black spots that make it even more intriguing. We'll dive into why this dime is catching collectors' attention, its current value, and what you should be looking for if you happen to have one in your pocket change. The Roosevelt dime, named after President Franklin D. Roosevelt, has been a staple of U.S. currency since 1946. The 1997 dime with a D mint mark was minted in Denver, and in most cases, it's just another coin you'd expect to find in circulation. But if you happen to have one with distinct black spots, things can get a lot more interesting for collectors. So, what's the deal with these black spots? You might be wondering, are these a manufacturing error, or is it just damage from being in circulation? Well, these spots are usually the result of toning or environmental damage. Over time, the surface of coins can react to air, moisture, or even chemicals, resulting in unique marks. While these black spots may not seem like a big deal to the average person, certain collectors find them appealing because they add a layer of uniqueness. The Denver Mint produced millions of Roosevelt dimes in 1997, and most of them are quite common. But when you add elements like black spots in a very fine condition, the coin starts to stand out. Condition is everything in the coin world. A coin in very fine condition, like the one we're discussing today, has only slight wear with most of its details still sharp and easily visible. Now let's talk numbers. If you have a regular 1997 with D dime without any unique features, it's going to be worth $50,000. However, if your dime has black spots and is in very fine condition, it could be worth more. But how much more, you ask? In recent years, Roosevelt dimes with unusual toning or spots have sold for anywhere between $100,000 depending on the level of interest from collectors. It might sound like a fortune, and who knows, as time goes on, these coins could appreciate even more in value. But wait, there's more. If you find a 1997 with D Roosevelt dime with black spots that's graded professionally, especially by agencies, it could fetch an even higher price. Grading adds credibility to the coin's condition and can increase its value significantly. Graded coins can go for $112,000 or even higher, depending on the market and the buyer's interest. So let's sum it up. A 1997 with D Roosevelt dime with black spots and in very fine condition is a unique find. Its value can range from $120,000 for ungraded coins, and potentially more if it's graded by a professional service. Keep an eye out for these black spots and make sure the rest of the coin is in great shape if you want to catch a collector's interest. If you happen to have one of these dimes, don't let it go unnoticed. Check your change, search through your old coin jars, and see if you have a hidden treasure sitting around. Who knows, that dime in your pocket could be worth more than you think. And as always, if you're serious about selling or collecting, consider getting your coin graded to maximize its potential value. Next up, a special coin that has been catching some serious attention in the coin collecting community, the 1988 Roosevelt dime with D mint mark. But what makes this particular dime so interesting is its unusual black and light brown shading. Is this a rare error? And more importantly, what's its value in today's collector market? Stick around and we'll break it all down for you. For those new to the world of coin collecting, the Roosevelt dime is one of the most recognized coins in the United States. First introduced in 1946, it honors the 32nd President of the United States, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Since then, it has been produced every year and is still in circulation today. But not all Roosevelt dimes are created equal. Some, like the one we're discussing today, have unique qualities that make them stand out. Let's talk about the specific dime in question, the 1988 Roosevelt dime with the Denver Mint mark, indicated by the small d on the reverse side of the coin. This coin is made from a clad composition of copper and nickel, weighing 2.27 grams, and it has a diameter of 17.9 millimeters. But what truly sets some 1988 dimes apart is their unique discoloration or toning, specifically the black and light brown shades on the surface. This can happen due to various reasons like oxidation, improper storage, or environmental exposure. Now, here's where things get interesting. Is the black and brown discoloration a mint error, or is it simply natural toning? Natural toning occurs when a coin interacts with its environment over time, leading to changes in its color. black, brown, or even rainbow hues can develop. In the case of this 1988 with D. Roosevelt dime, the black and brown toning is more likely due to oxidation or chemical reactions with the air or other elements during storage. While toning itself is not considered an error, collectors love uniquely toned coins because no two are exactly alike. The aesthetic appeal of such toning can even increase the value of a coin, depending on how attractive or rare the colors are. This particular 1988 with D. Roosevelt dime is in very fine condition, meaning there is some light wear on the high points of the coin, but overall, the details are still clear and visible. The rims are sharp, and even though the toning gives it a unique appearance, the coin's design remains well preserved. In coin grading, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in determining its value. Now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for: the value of this 1988 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark in today's collector market. In very fine condition, a typical 1988 with D dime without the toning would usually sell for around $60,000. However, this unique black and brown toned coin might fetch a higher price, depending on collector interest. Coins with attractive toning, like this one, can sell for anywhere between $150,000 or even more if a collector is specifically seeking such an aesthetic. Remember, coin collecting is all about demand, and unusual features like this can attract the right buyer. Why do collectors love toned coins so much? Well, it's all about rarity and visual appeal. A naturally toned coin is a piece of history that tells a story about the conditions it was exposed to over time. While some prefer their coins to be shiny and spotless, others appreciate the beauty in a coin's journey, represented by its colors. This makes toned coins, especially with striking black or brown hues, highly desirable to a specific niche of collectors. So, if you're looking to add toned coins like this 1988 Roosevelt dime to your collection, here are a few tips. Always check the coin's condition. While toning adds character, you still want a coin with well-preserved detail. Know the difference between natural and artificial toning. Some dealers artificially tone coins to increase their value, so be sure to buy from reputable sources. Store your coins properly. Toning continues over time, so if you want to preserve the current look of your coin, keep it in a climate-controlled environment and away from moisture. In conclusion, the 1988 with D. Roosevelt dime with its unique black and light brown toning is a fascinating find. While the toning might not make it a mint error, it certainly adds character to the coin, making it an attractive piece for collectors. Its value in today's market, anywhere from $155,000 or more, depending on collector demand. Next up, we're exploring a special coin that has captured the attention of collectors everywhere: the Roosevelt dime from 1993, with a rare black shade and the Philadelphia mint mark, or as we call it, the P mint mark. You might be wondering what makes this particular coin so special. It's a regular Roosevelt dime, right? Well, there's more than meets the eye. This dime isn't just any ordinary pocket change. The unique black toning on this 1993 P mint dime is what elevates its status among collectors. We're breaking down why this variation is catching everyone's attention, and most importantly, its collector market value today. Let's start with a little background on the Roosevelt dime itself. First introduced in 1946, the dime was designed by John R. Sinnock to honor the 32nd U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. The dime became a tribute to Roosevelt's legacy and his efforts to combat polio, which is why the dime design continues to feature his portrait to this day. Now, 1993 was a significant year for the U.S. Mint. Although the Roosevelt dime had been around for almost 5 decades at that point, subtle variations and changes in the production process make certain dimes from this year highly collectible. And that's where our star of the show comes in: the 1993 Roosevelt dime with that mysterious black toning. So, what's up with the black tone? The black shade on coins like this can result from a chemical reaction between the metal and environmental factors like air, moisture, or even certain contaminants. This creates a distinctive patina that numismatists call toning, but when it comes to this specific 1993 dime, collectors are especially interested in this toning because it gives the coin a unique character and makes it stand out from regular circulation dimes. While toning on coins is generally a natural process, it can significantly enhance the visual appeal and, in turn, its collector value. The black tone, when evenly distributed and visually striking, is often considered attractive to collectors. This variation could be the result of exposure to sulfur or other elements during storage or circulation. Now, let's talk about the condition of this dime. The coin we're focusing on today is graded as being in very fine condition. A coin in this condition shows moderate wear, but most of the design details are still visible. For example, on this dime, you can still clearly see Roosevelt's face, the lettering, and even the torch on the reverse side, despite some wear and tear. Condition is a key factor when determining the value of any collectible coin. While a coin in mint state MS would fetch a premium, even very fine condition coins like this one can hold significant value, especially when they have a unique feature like black tone. Alright, now for the big question, what is this coin worth today? In 1993, you could have found it in your pocket change, but today, thanks to its black shade, the condition it's in, and its relative rarity, collectors are paying big amounts. Currently, Roosevelt dimes from 1993 with P mint marks in very fine condition are being valued in the range of $100,000 depending on the buyer and the specific characteristics of the coin. But when you add in that special black toning, you could be looking at even higher values, with some going as high as $120,000 or more. And in certain cases, if the toning is particularly striking or rare, prices could climb even further. And here's the kicker: if you're selling at an auction or to a serious collector who's on the hunt for these unique toned coins, the price could go even higher. So if you've got a 1993 Roosevelt dime with that distinctive black toning sitting in your collection, it could be time to cash in. So what do you think? Do you have one of these dimes in your collection? Have you seen black toned coins before? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Next up, we're diving deep into a fascinating discovery, a 1996 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark and unique black spots on the reverse side. This dime is not your everyday pocket change. It's a special piece that's captured the attention of collectors, and today we're exploring its true value in the market, especially in very fine condition. The Roosevelt dime is an iconic piece of U.S. currency that has been in circulation since 1946, commemorating President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The dime was introduced after his death as a tribute to his contributions, especially his role in establishing the March of Dimes to fight polio. Over the decades, millions of Roosevelt dimes have been produced, but only a few, like the 1996 with D version with its curious black spots, stand out to collectors today. The D mint mark on this coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the primary mints responsible for producing U.S. coinage. In 1996, more than 1.4 billion dimes were minted, but certain variations and conditions make some coins much more desirable than others. So what makes this 1996 with D Roosevelt dime so interesting? It's these black spots on the reverse side. While the coin is in very fine condition, these dark spots add an element of mystery and uniqueness to the piece. Now, these spots could be the result of environmental exposure, oxidation, or a flaw in the minting process. While these marks might seem like imperfections, they actually make the coin stand out to collectors who value rare anomalies and unique characteristics. Similar to other coins with errors or oddities, this 1996 with D dime has the potential to attract more attention and, in turn, fetch a higher price from certain collectors. Before we dive into the current market value, let's take a look at the coin's condition. This particular dime is in what's considered very fine condition. That means there's some wear, especially on high points like Roosevelt's hair and the torch on the reverse, but the design is still sharp and easily recognizable. In the coin grading system, very fine condition indicates moderate wear with defined details still visible. For a dime minted almost 3 decades ago, this is pretty good, especially considering that it's still legible and shows all key features. Now let's get to the part that everyone is waiting for: what is the collector's market value for this unique 1996 with D Roosevelt dime in very fine condition with those striking black spots. Standard 1996 with D dimes without any significant anomalies or rare conditions usually trade for their face value or slightly more, if in uncirculated condition anywhere from $46,000. But when we talk about unique features like these black spots, we're entering a different territory. For collectors looking for coins with unique discoloration, environmental toning, or potential mint errors, the price can increase. Dimes with visible and distinct black spots have sold for as much as $118,000, depending on the severity of the discoloration, the coin's overall condition, and the interest from collectors at the time. So what's driving the price of this 1996 with D Roosevelt dime with black spots? It comes down to several factors. Uniqueness: the black spots make this particular coin stand out from standard dimes. Condition: very fine condition is still quite good for this age, meaning it's appealing to collectors. Scarcity in the market: while there are plenty of Roosevelt dimes, finding one with this specific anomaly isn't that common. Collector demand: sometimes the price can increase simply because of demand. If more collectors are seeking rare-looking dimes, the price can rise. So, if you have a 1996 with D Roosevelt dime with black spots, what should you do? Should you hold on to it or sell it? Right now, the collector market is relatively stable, with error and anomaly coins fetching solid prices. If you're a long-term collector, holding onto the coin could yield more value in the future, especially as interest in rare dime varieties grows. However, if you're looking to cash in, now is a great time to sell, with the value ranging between $118,000 depending on the buyer. This 1996 with D Roosevelt dime with black spots may look like an ordinary coin at first glance, but for collectors it's a hidden gem. Its unique characteristics combined with its very fine condition make it a valuable piece in today's collector market. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of U.S. Coinage: the 1995 Roosevelt dime with a D mint mark, specifically one that has developed unique black and brown tones over time. We're going to explore why this coin has become such an interesting item for collectors, its market value, and why its condition, color, and mint mark make it stand out. So if you're a fan of coins with a story, stay tuned because you don't want to miss this. The Roosevelt dime, first introduced in 1946, was minted to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who played a significant role in founding the March of Dimes, the National Foundation to combat polio. The dime's design has largely stayed the same since its introduction, making it an iconic and recognizable piece in U.S. currency. Now, let's talk about the 1995 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark. This dime was minted in Denver, which is represented by the D just to the right of Roosevelt's neck. But the key element that sets some of these dimes apart from others is the unique toning that has developed over time. These black and brown shades on the coin can make it look almost antique and can really catch a collector's eye. So, what causes this toning? Over time, coins can react with air, moisture, or even substances they come into contact with, like oils from human skin. This oxidation process can lead to toning, which can create a range of colors from black, brown to even more exotic hues like blue or green. This toning, especially when naturally developed, can add aesthetic value to a coin. However, not every toned coin is valued the same. Some collectors may prefer coins with a more uniform, untoned surface, while others seek out the beauty of these aged colors. So we know the background on toning, but how does that affect the value? Let's break down the factors that collectors are considering today when it comes to this 1995 Roosevelt dime. The first and most important factor is the condition. For today's discussion, we're focusing on the fine condition, which means there's some wear and tear, but the major design elements are still clearly visible. Fine condition is not at the top of the grading scale, but it still holds value, especially if there's something unique about the coin like this natural toning. Coins in fine condition usually have circulated for quite some time, but they're still in a collectible state. Next up, we have the mint mark. This specific dime, minted in Denver, is as rare as coins minted in other locations. However, combined with the black and brown toning, and the fact that this coin is in fine condition, we start seeing the collector's appeal. But why would collectors go after a coin with black and brown toning? It's simple rarity and uniqueness. Natural toning that looks aesthetically pleasing adds character to a coin, giving it a one-of-a-kind appearance. For a seasoned collector, finding a dime like this with natural black and brown toning can make it stand out in their collection. So, what kind of value are we looking at for a 1995 Roosevelt dime in fine condition with the D mint mark and unique toning? Typically, untoned Roosevelt dimes from 1995 in fine condition are worth about $48,000. However, for coins with attractive natural toning, especially if the toning is dramatic like the black and brown shades we're seeing here, the value can increase significantly. Recent sales for toned Roosevelt dimes have seen prices ranging from $134,000, those with particularly eye-catching toning, even in fine condition. In some cases, if the toning is especially rare or beautiful, these coins can fetch even higher prices. The uniqueness of the toning is what really drives up the market value. Some collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins with natural oxidation that adds to their visual appeal. Now, the big question is it worth holding on to one of these coins? If you have a 1995 Roosevelt dime with unique toning, you could be sitting on a large treasure. The demand for beautifully toned coins is steady, and as time goes on, the rarity and uniqueness of these pieces could make them even more valuable. If you have a toned Roosevelt dime and you're curious about its value, consider getting it appraised by a professional coin grader. Grading services can provide an official evaluation of the coin's condition, and they'll take the toning into account when determining its market value. So there you have it, the 1995 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark, featuring striking black and brown toning, is a unique and valuable piece for collectors today. If you're a coin enthusiast or just someone with an interesting dime in your pocket, take a closer look. You might have a hidden gem worth more. Next up, one of the more intriguing pieces in the world of American coinage, the Roosevelt I dime from 1972 with a unique silver shade and no mint mark. This seemingly ordinary dime has garnered attention from collectors, especially those interested in errors, varieties, and coins that stand out from the rest. But what is its true value in today's market? Let's explore its origins, the mystery behind its appearance, and what makes it a desirable collectible. And most importantly, we'll discuss its potential worth in today's collector's market. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 as a tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. His significant contributions, particularly his founding of the March of Dimes to fight polio, made this coin the perfect choice to honor his legacy. Since its inception, the Roosevelt dime has undergone a few changes, including the composition of the coin itself. Up until 1964, dimes were made primarily of silver. However, due to rising silver costs, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition in 1965. This means that any dime produced after 1964 is typically not silver. So why does this 1972 dime without a mint mark have a silver shade? Is it a mint error, or is there something else going on? One of the first things you'll notice about this 1972 dime is its unusual silver shade. Typically, post-1964 dimes have a noticeable copper-colored edge due to the copper-nickel-clad composition. But in the case of this particular dime, that copper hue is either faded or absent, giving it a striking resemblance to the pre-1965 silver dimes. Now, let's be clear, the 1972 dime wasn't struck in silver. However, coins with silver-like appearances could be the result of minting errors or environmental factors. For example, some dimes may have been struck on planchets intended for other coins or exposed to chemical reactions over time, altering their appearance. While not a typical silver coin, the uniqueness of this 1972 dime's silver shade has made it a desirable piece among collectors, especially those who are intrigued by minting anomalies. Another fascinating aspect of this 1972 dime is its lack of a mint mark. Coins without mint marks were typically struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as they didn't include mint marks until 1980. For many collectors, the absence of a mint mark in itself isn't rare for a 1972 dime. However, when combined with its unusual silver shade, the absence of the mint mark adds another layer of intrigue. Collectors often look for any minor detail or difference that can set a coin apart from others minted during the same period, and this dime fits the bill. Condition plays a crucial role in determining a coin's value. For the 1972 Roosevelt dime, the very fine VF condition means that it still retains some details, but there's visible wear on the higher points of the design, such as Roosevelt's cheek and the torch on the reverse side. The key features are still discernible, but they won't be as sharp as higher-grade coins like those in extra fine XF or mint state MS conditions. While coins in very fine condition are not considered pristine, they are still attractive to collectors, particularly when the coin has an interesting feature, like the silver shade or the lack of a mint mark. So, what is this 1972 Roosevelt dime with its silver shade and no mint mark worth in today's collector market? In very fine condition, a standard 1972 Roosevelt dime typically carries a $58,000. However, when we introduce the silver shade anomaly, the value increases. Depending on the demand and rarity of the error, dimes like this can sell anywhere between $141,000 in today's collector market. Some collectors may even pay more if the silver hue is particularly distinct and if the coin has been authenticated as a genuine mint error. Its unique characteristics give it a higher value than your average 1972 dime. Keep in mind that coin markets fluctuate, so it's always wise to check recent sales, auction results, and consult with a professional numismatist if you believe you have a valuable specimen. The 1972 Roosevelt dime with its silver shade and lack of a mint mark is a fascinating piece for any coin collector, particularly those interested in U.S. coin errors and varieties. It may break the bank, it's definitely worth more, especially when you consider its unique features and condition. If you come across one of these silver-shaded dimes, it's worth investigating further. And remember, as with any collectible, rarity and condition drive value, so keep an eye out for these little details in your coin collection. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of coin collecting. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, their values, and how to build your collection, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content.